Happy Sunday, everyone. I am going to be joined by Ann Kelly in just a moment. I'm looking forward to hearing her read her poem out loud. Hi, Cassie. And here she is, and I'm going to invite her to join me like perfectly, and we're not going to have any glitches, and it's just going to work right now.
Okay.
Yes!
Yes. Oh boy, this was very interesting, fun, but good.
Yeah.
So,
So
all right.
welcome.
Well, I know. I'm glad that I was finally able to join you. It's 7 minutes late, and you know what the scariest part of all of this is? I work for a technology company. I work for Cisco, and you would think that I would have a handle on this, but yeah, I don't.
I think there's also something, if you believe in astrology, it's Mercury retrograde. And I can vouch for the fact that I have been on, like yesterday, the Zoom call I was on was a complete mess. Zoom kicked us out. Like, it was just one of those things. So I do feel
Yep.
like in the air, it's just kind of like, okay, so it took 2 tries, but two's not so bad. Only took two. So
Exactly.
we're here now.
Exactly. That's right.
Yes. And for those of you
Yeah,
who weren't
so,
live with us, you'll never know what happened in take one. So,
oh my
that's
God.
encouragement for you to join us next
Allison,
time
I'm
live.
glad that that thing went into the ether because, yeah, that was not good. The
You would have
echoing and the
appreciated my
feedback.
vamping though.
Yeah.
I was
Oh
like,
man.
I'll talk some more about books. I know Anne's coming. So
Exactly.
I am excited to hear your poem.
Okay. All
So
right.
if you want to
So
say
yeah.
anything else, you can, but also you can launch into it. And we're excited to hear it.
All right. Yeah, I'll launch into it. And as you know, because I've emailed you several times, I love this series that you've started. So, yeah, I'm just really excited to do this. And I always love hearing from our other podmates. So I recommend to
Me too.
everybody that you do this. It's really, it's a fun
So
exercise.
nudge, nudge, Maxine, because you're on here. And I've nudged her on Instagram and she's feeling a little unsure. So we're nudging you.
Yeah, Maxine, you can do it. You've got this. I have no doubt that you can absolutely do this. And it's just a great exercise and really gets the juices flowing. So
I agree.
yeah. All right. So I'll jump in. So as everyone knows, this is inspired by the George Ella Lyon's poem, Where I'm From. So mine is Where I'm From, Irish Green. I am from an Irish clan's love, strong as bedrock, deep as ocean. The baby in the family almost taken, decades after baby fat grew lean. A bleeding brain tumor caught before bedrock could crumble. I am from a surgeon's scalpel, my Superman in a cape of blue scrubs, who outran, outflew, outwitted, red kryptonite inside me. I am from dusty dirt roads, a slouching red barn wearing a rust-streaked tin hat, a tidy white Cape Cod house on a remote wind-swept hill. The city of brotherly love in my veins, left behind at age 8 as the yellow Dodge station wagon nosed north. I am from moonbeam coreopsis and bleeding heart plants that stand tall in my garden, arched stems heavy with hearts of red that nod to me on a June breeze. I'm from candlelit nights singing birthday songs, small table, voices lifted, off-key and giddy. My siblings crowded round, my father's eyes dancing. We banged the table in a tribal whoop at song's end as he taught us. I'm from Leonard T. Sr. and Leonard T. Jr., the former quiet and gentle, the latter forever laughing, forever loving from the grave. I'm from Eat the Sandwich in small bites, and we can overcome anything when we take it in bite-sized pieces. My tumor, decades later, picked from the tangles of my brain in pieces. I'm from Irish Catholics centuries long, in our blood, our hearts, breaking our hearts as scandals spread and suffocated innocence. And we turn not the other cheek, but our hearts away. I'm from Philadelphia Scrapple, the unwanted parts of the pig, crisp skin, gooey center of goodness and spices and lard. I'm from my air fryer, able to leap tall buildings in a bound and cook just about anything you can dream up. I'm from my maternal great-grandmother, washed ashore from County Tipperary to Philadelphia, age 13, expected to work 14-hour days on a concrete floor, a teen laundress in a big house on Philly's upper crust main line. And yes, the soldier song is true. 'Tis indeed a long way to Tipperary, and from Tipperary, especially in third class. The girl, Elizabeth, left mother and father, brothers and sisters behind on the old sod. The one chosen to accompany a maiden aunt in steerage, trying for anyone's definition of a better life. I'm from a lineage of clans, the Kellys, the Means, the McGees, McCuskers, the McGinleys, preserved in memory, on film, on tintype, the nooks and crannies of my Victorian home shelves filled. Is that really tin? Actually, I read somewhere they used pressed iron, not tin. Paper thin, muted, brown-edged and blistered, a prick as thumb brushes pitted metal, caressing a waxed mustache precisely curled. The studio backdrop of ferns and high-back fan chair, green and mossy through the passage of time. The depths of our lineage and ocean bottom mysterious, a sunken ship glimpsed, murky, Irish green.
Thank you. I teared up.
Oh, Alyson, thank you. You know, it's so funny, but as a CNF writer and a memoirist, this sounds odd, but I mean, I do that. I write to make people cry. It shows me that I'm doing my job. So I'm glad to see that. But yeah.
I mean, the Irish Catholic bit. You know, my paternal grandmother was. So I resonate. Some of that resonates with me, and I think also, you know, we're in.
Yeah.
Aside from our indigenous population, we're a nation of immigrants. So we all can somewhere relate to that going for a better life, you know, to somebody. Right.
Yep.
And what does that look like? And what does that mean? And I was grateful you addressed the scandals of the church, because I think that's something that any Catholic has to grapple with. I'm not Catholic, absolutely, but you know, it's something that it's part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a, you know, a horrifying and devastating part of it. And, you know, for me and my siblings, you know, it was hard for us, but it really hit like my parents' generation much harder. You know, both of my parents, you know, they came up through the Catholic schooling system, and it just, that was their foundation, you know? And so it really, well, my father was gone by then, but it really hit my mother hard. Yeah.
Yeah. My father came up through the Catholic school system as well. And I mean, it was his salvation of sorts from, you know, the poverty that he was growing up in. So.
Right. Exactly.
And then also your brain tumor, which I know about vaguely because of posts that you've shared, but it was just so evocative. And I think anyone who's been had surgery performed on them, you know, those people I have, and those people are super heroes. And
they are. Yeah.
You know, I mean, they saved lives, and they saved mine and yours. And I mean, there's something, and picking it out piece by piece. That was so with the, anyway, that was really effective. So.
Yeah, I know.
And it is like shocking what's under there. You know, I had melanoma, and it's like under there, it's a lot of stuff, and you really can't.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure with the brain tumor, it's a whole, and to have it all be, and it's because it's not like here's this neat little package. Remove
exactly.
It, you know,
right, and that's why I wanted to kind of. You know, I used that saying, and it was my father who always said it, and he's the Leonard Jr., who is no longer with us, but always with us from the grave. And he used to always say to us as kids growing up, you know, take any problem, in pieces, eat the sandwich in pieces, bite-sized pieces. It's more manageable. And as I was writing this, then I thought of how my surgeon said to me afterwards, he was literally picking it out in pieces, because it was bleeding too. It was hemorrhaging in my brain. So there was like a whole extra layer of complication. And, I've written several flash pieces about it. What I've done is I've finished my memoir. I'm actually, fingers crossed, getting ready to query in another week or two. I'm working on my book proposal right now. And oh my God, it's been overwhelming. But as I've been going along, because I started writing it in 2016. And then in 2017, I started submitting to literary journals and taking pieces of it and working them into standalone essays. And then I really got into flash nonfiction. And so I'm always trying to, how can I get this really tight? And I ended up writing this really, like, it's kind of shocking in a way and very graphic. It's only like 500 words. And I sent it in as a flash and a journal picked it up. But I imagine that I am awake on the table and I'm watching what my doctor is doing to me and how my head is strapped into a head vise and, the tools that he's using to slice me open. And it's just, and the flash is really just like, you read it and you kind of get chills, it's, and what I did, the way I wrote it is I just went out after the fact, like years after my surgery. And I've been watching like YouTube videos about open head surgery because I needed to do that anyway for my memoir. And I was watching these videos and doing all of this research. And, it's something that I never would have been able to do while I was like in the trenches, but having time on my side now, because my surgery was 2009. Now I was able to go back and do it and get through some of those very graphic videos. So, yeah.
I'm sure. And as a person who I've been, surgery's been performed on me, minor surgery a few times, and I've been awake every time, and, it's local and you can feel it. I mean, what's going on, they're digging around in there and, it's surreal. So I can't even imagine. When I once had I bit my tongue in half and I had my tongue stitched. You just kind of stick your tongue out and they just sew it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh God, I can't imagine.
I can extrapolate like what that might feel like to have your actual I mean, obviously you were completely out, but
right. Yeah. I was actually intubated and since COVID has come in, you would not believe how many times I've thought about that, because I was on a ventilator and I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't think about it, until 2020, right? And then we started hearing all of the awful effects of all of these people who, so it's on many levels, COVID has been really hard too, right? As I still go back in time and think about different things and just.
Well, and how grateful I am for myself and the people in my life that any health interventions that we needed, we had before this time, that we aren't having our surgeries delayed or
oh my God. Absolutely. Because that's the other thing, that I think about too, which is people who really, I mean, fine, if you've broken your arm, all right, maybe we can put that off to the side, but for many surgical procedures, you can't wait.
Right.
And so this is just such a nightmare out there now. So,
it's so sad. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I've been grateful for things like this and other collaborations, like as distractions and connecting with people outside of shared trauma, because I think we all share that right now. But it's nice to share things that are, I think sometimes too, when we reflect on where we're from, things that we've lived through and we will live through this, even though sometimes I'm like, it's going to get better, right? I mean, I know, like, am I just being like, hope? Is it? I mean, it will. There are moments where it feels like, okay, maybe this is life now. And that's overwhelming to even
Yeah.
take it
And,
piece by
and
piece.
I think to a certain degree, unfortunately, Alyson, to a certain degree, it will be, right? I mean, yeah, it won't be as bad as it's been in the thick of it for the past 2 years, but yeah, we'll live with this. So yeah, it's crazy,
One day at a
and
time.
yeah, I think back to how, none of us can travel, and I'm a huge traveler, right? Like I traveled, well, I traveled all the time for my job. So, I was always going to various conferences throughout the US and also overseas, and it did a lot of traveling on my own over there. In fact, I was in Barcelona like 2 weeks before Italy and Spain shut down. We were over there for a conference, and everybody was, we had already heard talk of it, and God, just crazy. But I haven't been anywhere now. Like, that was my last trip. That was like, the end of February, and I haven't been anywhere since February of 2020. So yeah.
We just recently looked at like the pictures on our camera roll for March 2019. Here we are just plodding along. My son they celebrated Holi at school, so they're covered in all the chalk, and it's like this really joyful, it was such a happy memory. And then, like a few days later, boom.
Oh my God.
So
The
it's,
speed of it, right? It was like, literally, the speed of it was like
well, and
head
I just
spinning.
read Sedaris's Diaries, Carnival of Snackery, and he covers that time just a tiny bit. And it's like, oh yeah, people are worried about this COVID thing, like just reading
Yeah.
how we all just felt like, oh, this thing's happening,
It'll
I'm
be
sure it won't be a big
over,
deal.
in 3 months or 6 months. This will all be behind us. Yeah.
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 So any other last thoughts, Anne? Thank you so much. I'm glad that you made time in your busy schedule between querying your novel and your work and, to join me,
I
because
know.
I love your poem, and it's so nice to meet you. It does feel like meeting people, but I do feel like I have to use air quotes because,
Oh,
it's just,
absolutely. I know. Yeah. It's great. I mean, our pods are wonderful. I can't get over how much I've enjoyed them. You know what I mean? And how many writers I've met. And yeah, it's been amazing. I will put in one plug, since I know that there are so many of our fellow writers
yes,
out there.
yes. Please put in a plug.
So I am the Flash nonfiction editor for Barron Magazine, and we've just opened up our next reading period for issue 20. I'll probably put a little post out about this as well, along with where you can submit your Flash, but I talked about Flash earlier. So yeah, send something my way. I'd love to read it. And I challenge all of you. You can send up to 1,000 words, but you will get bonus points if you do it in 500 to 750. So I'd love to see it. And yeah, I'll probably put a post into our pod in the next day or two with
And
more
how long is
details.
the submission period, and how long are you open for?
It used to be that we had a set time period where we would say, okay, we're opening at the end of January and we're going to be open until the end of February. Now we've kind of changed things with this issue because we were getting overwhelmed.
So many.
I think in our last reading period, we got over 500 just nonfiction pieces.
Yeah.
So this time we've put a cap on it because we also lost a lot of editors. So we're going to stop at 50. So whenever we hit 50 submissions
So get cracking.
for nonfiction, fiction, poetry, and we also accept your original photographs, get it in. And then when we hit 50, we're shutting them down. So yeah.
Okay, good to know. Well, thank you, Anne, for your plug and for everything. And it's lovely to see you. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And,
all
we'll
right,
be back
sounds
soon.
good. I'm glad we
Okay.
made this happen, Alyson. I wasn't
We did
sure in the beginning. I'm like, oh
We
my
did
God. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.